we're all here, even Merlin, and we're talking about, can you ask for what you want? And this is Activate Your Prosperous Life live stream series. I'm bringing you the most highest quality, highest frequency featured speakers from the summit today who are activating prosperity in their lives. I invite you to come along and join us and register for the summit. In the where you're watching it, there is a link in the
fading.
So it appears like her internet is glitching again today, which is, I believe, yesterday. So I know
usually in the text above to register for this summit.
Your internet is glitching again, Jennifer.
Okay, Robert, we're back. You're first.
You're back.
I'm back. Okay. Feel free to just keep rolling if I cut out and take over. Robert, who are you and how are you helping people ask for what they want? Helping your clients?
Every time someone asks me, who are you? It's like, oh my God, who am I? Robert is actually the one who went through all the difficulties and the challenges that's why I always say my name is Robert, because I really don't identify with Robert anymore. And that Robert never knew how to ask. I didn't know how to ask. Both my parents came out of the war. My father had to find food because the Germans came into Holland and just took all their food. So he'd be walking around with a cart, trying to exchange some goods for some potatoes. My mother was a prisoner in the Japanese concentration camp in Indonesia. So they didn't have that prosperity consciousness. And so I was struggling. I didn't know how to ask, be happy with what you have, So that's a process that I had to learn. And in the process is something that I'm helping all my clients, because most people don't know how to ask. And when they ask, they don't even know in what manner they need to ask. Yesterday, we talked about intention, for instance. If your intention isn't coming from the right place, it's also equally not going to happen. So that just in short. So next, I guess we'll go to Connie.
Yeah, I'll carry on.
All right.
Yeah, so who am I? Sort of similar, Robert. I'm Connie Pertula, the Menopause Navigator. And I feel like I've had, multiple lives in this life, because I spent 34 years in the corporate world and, affectionately called Corporate Connie. And I was very independent in the corporate world. So, it was all about being focused on what your goals were and meeting your goals. And a lot of times there was a lot of competition. So typically you weren't asking for help. You were working it very independently. And, after I left the corporate world and starting to work with clients and women specifically who are navigating menopause, this is something that I find that's very common with women as well too, right? If a woman if she has children, and a husband or a partner, she's generally making sure that everybody else is okay. But when does she stop and ask for things for herself? So that is something that I guide my clients through, is how to focus on themselves, and that it's not selfish to do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I like David's, let's jump over to David, because I like how he has a spin on this around corporate refugees. Tell us more about that, and how, we have to relearn how to ask for what we want.
Yeah. So I'm David. I help corporate refugees start, run, and grow their own business, primarily so they can do more of what they love and get paid what they're worth. And part of that equation is understanding what you want and, of course, asking for what you want. And I think in our culture, we're taught not to ask for what we want, particularly women. So what you said, Connie, definitely echoes with me. And yeah, if you don't know what you want and you don't ask for what you want, you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah. And what about coming out of the corporate culture, Robert? Because Connie was saying, like, the competition, sometimes there's this hoarding of information kind of teaching that we learn. Like, if I share too much, then I'm not going to be promoted. I'm not going to get looked at. Somebody else is going to outshine over me. But then when you go into being an entrepreneur, it's all you. Like, you need to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there was a bit of a problem there, because as a management consultant, if I'd be on one multi-million-dollar project with other consultants and I would ask them, that would mean I didn't know my stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just so bizarre. And they would not share their knowledge because everybody was like, I want to get my bonus at the end of the week. You know, so it was just, and one of the reasons why I left that business world very early on.
I love it. Yeah. Chime in some other people. We don't have to always do this the same. Brenda Leese, tell us about you and, you know, what your take is on asking for what you want.
I'm liking this conversation because I'm also a corporate refugee. I came out of corporate after 24 years in the corporate space. And I think for me, I never felt comfortable asking. First, I think it connects with what Robert was saying, that if you ask too much, then that means that you're not self-sufficient, that you're not strong enough, that you're not doing smart enough, that you're not doing your due diligence, etc., etc. And now being on the outside, I feel it's not necessarily that you will be perceived that way. That was extremely a belief that I hold dear to my heart, that I had to break very deeply. But it's more about knowing what to ask. And a lot of the times people just don't know what they need, what they need to ask for, what they really desire. And I think that's one of the things I love working with women, is to, first of all, let's connect so deeply inside that you really do know what you desire, and asking becomes very easy. Asking is not super. Asking comes out of alignment.
Yeah. And you shouldn't feel, should I ask for the, you know, like in your body, tight around it. I know that feeling. Leah, what is your take? And tell us a little bit about you too. And if you missed it on the first round, come back and tell us more about you on the second round.
Yeah. This is something I'm deeply passionate about, is, you know, can you ask for what you want? Absolutely. And I think for me, my story is a politician to painter. I came from the political world, which maybe even is more dysfunctional sometimes than the corporate world. And it's that space of being told what you should be, being told who you are, being told how you operate and how you show up, which disconnects you so greatly from who you are at your core. And that's, as I transitioned from this space of constant accolades and constant success and winning and losing, to using the power of creativity and art. And there's no art skills required. And I think we have this idea of that when we create things, there has to be a goal or an end in mind. But the reality is, we are all the creators of our own lives. And when you're in touch with who you are internally and at your core, then you can create the life and of abundance and prosperous and joy that we are all seeking. But you have to shed those external ideas of that your worth comes from the outside, because the reality is your worth comes from the inside.
Yeah, it's an inside job. It's an inside job. Go deeper on that, Kirsten. Play off of that, Kirsten. My beautiful friend from Loveland. And Leah's from Loveland. Ooh.
Yay.
We've got some Colorado magic coming in here. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo what Leah just said. It is an inside job, period, end of sentence, right? How you feel internally, I call it your inner royalty state of being. When you're in your inner royalty state of being, it's not even a question, can I ask for what I want? That becomes almost a silly question. The question then becomes is, how do I most respectfully, most aligned with who I am, ask for what I want? And then all the swirling emotions that come with that dissolve when you're asking from your core. You know, for me in the past, it was unworthiness, or I have to prove myself. So, you know, I never went into corporate because I didn't want to play that game. So I've been an entrepreneur pretty much all of my adult life. And you have to learn to ask. But boy, there was a lot of that constriction that happens around it, because there was so much around. Let's go to just sales, you know, asking for the sale. Am I being greedy? Am I worthy enough? Do I have imposter syndrome? All of those things. And then just as the final piece, you know, my audience, my clients are in the regenerative world. So we're literally focused on changing the game of how humanity lives on Earth. So that added layer of having to filter everything through values now. Am I being greedy? Does this align with my values? Will I leave the future a better place if I do this? That there is an additional layer that I see that my group really has to work through, and to understand what they have is absolutely essential in the world right now. And the world would be worse off if you didn't ask for the sale, if you didn't ask for what you needed.
And asking for even your, you know, what you're talking about is like, we're asking people to change. We're like, this conversation is asking you to change your point of view on prosperity, on the old ways of being. And you might not even think it's the old way of being, because you might just think it is the way.
Right.
And there is no options, right? Lauren, tell us more about yourself and what you think about asking for help.
Yeah, thank you. I love this conversation so far. I'm an artist as well. And one of my deepest truths is that we are co-creators of both our own reality, but of our own, we have a dialogue with the creator. There's this term called apotheosis that I love, that we are made in the image and likeness of the creator, whether it's to you, it's male, female, anything in between, source, universe, it's all the same thing. And when you can, what everyone here is talking about is like energetically tap into that ourselves through a place of alignment and frequency, then we can tap into that ability to co-create that. It's, you know, the whole idea about the secret too, and manifesting, it's not just asking for what you want. It's yes, being clear on what that is for you, and then making sure that you're in a state of alignment with obtaining that and being in vibrational frequency of already having it. And it's not a mental thing, it's a frequency thing. And I think a lot of people try and bypass a lot of the energetics with just mental strength and fortitude, which can probably manifest some things, but it's really about the energetic frequency. My personal perspective of it, and it's something that I've taught myself, is that I grew up in a large family. I was the middle child of 6. And I got used to this paradigm, like, well, everyone else comes first. All of their needs come first. I come last, because that was my servitude to my family, like to make sure that everyone was okay. I don't know who assigned that to me. It was all self-inflicted, you know, but I've had to teach myself how to feel comfortable, even ask, can I have that? Is it okay for me to want that? You know, and then doing my energetic work on the inside and really realizing that when I'm in a state of alignment with what I want, and in the creative process of just having that dialogue back and forth with source rather than mentally trying to ask something, just being in that frequency. It's been a big learning curve for me. So when I work with women as retreat leaders, I try and help them tap into that. Like, your ideal retreat is something that you can want and ask for and execute and have, and you can have this lifestyle that you want through your retreats. And being a better retreat leader means you tapping into your own frequency and really leading from that place of heart-centeredness and frequency alignment.
I love it. And Imani, tell us a little bit about you and what does it mean to you to ask for what you want?
Well, loving what everyone is sharing and how it's come from this place of on a 3D level to this place of recognizing you need to be in the frequency and you need to be in alignment. So I'm a divine alignment coach, and I'm supporting clients in recognizing when they're in alignment and when they are radiating the frequency of what they desire. And so part of that asking also means you need to be prepared to receive. So it's this duality that exists when you're in alignment, right? It's asking as if you don't have what you need, but you also have to be in the space and the place of expectation and recognizing everything required to fulfill your desires is available to you. It's more about aligning with it. So I may not get what I want when I'm asking from one particular person based on the conditioning of my mindset or my expectations. But if I'm aligning and I'm creating the frequency of asking and receiving at the same time, then I'm opening my mind and my world to receiving the support that I need. And it may not come in expected places. So I'll give an example for those who were sharing examples around the professional life. You may not be getting that promotion in that space because it's not aligned truly with where you need to be to get that promotion, right? Or you may be being called to create your own business so that you have that same level of responsibility and such. So this idea of asking, sometimes it comes from this limitation of, I need this. But if we're in alignment, we're not coming from that space. We're coming from the space of expectation and trusting the process that I will receive whatever is required to fulfill my desire. So when we do that, we're actually shifting our world, and the universe can respond to that frequency. So yes, we can ask for what we desire, but we need to work on how we're asking and what limitations we are creating when we are asking for what it is we need.
It takes practice, and I'm glad you're reading my mind. You were reading my mind. I'm like, we need to explain a bit. What does alignment mean? What does frequency mean? Because we might be talking over some people's heads, and that's okay. That's okay. Some of you totally get what we're talking about. But if we're asking for a bigger change in the whole world, we need to be able to translate we need to talk to like 5-year-olds, you know, like we need to bring it down to that language sometimes, right? Like the 7-year-old language. And, but at the same time, we don't, you know, can we ask for being able to, people understand us too. We understand us. So I'm going to ask the audience right now to really embody stepping into a new level of prosperity and abundance and money and wealth and time and freedom and support and help. And not just by registering for the summit, by getting closer to this conversation, coming in deeper into the VIP, very important person, but very in tune person section of the summit. And that's where you're going to get 3 special Zoom rooms, prosperity rooms is what I'm calling them, where me and some of the guest experts are coming to really answer all of your questions about any of this stuff that we're talking about. Like, what is frequency? How do I align my frequency? Because we have been practicing this for 30, 40, 50 years, some of us, and it isn't an easy practice to install, like just by thinking it or just by saying, oh, I'm going to do it once and it works. It takes time. It takes discipline and commitment. And so please register for the summit, and then you'll be asked to go to the next page where you can register at the VIP. It's $37 right now, and it's going up on Friday when the summit begins to $67. So I encourage you to get in now. We are going around again, and I'm going around with Robert. Robert, your talk is the hidden energy trap. How does blocked energy show up when someone's asking, like energetically, when you are having fear around asking for what you want? What's going on for somebody? Or it doesn't even have to be energetically, it can be in your body.
Can you repeat that question?
Well, I'm thinking your talk's the hidden energy trap. So how does the energy of being afraid prevent you from asking for what you want? Like fear and energy. Or say whatever you want. Don't answer my question.
Well, we're all talking about alignment, all right? And what is alignment? It's also about being aligned with your higher truth, because what you think you might want is not necessarily what you really need and the path that you were meant to be going on. So very often when things don't manifest the way you expect, keep saying to yourself, I'm in the right place in the right time, involved in the right activity. And if it's not this, that's when I'm going to start paying attention. Because if it's not this, then something more is on its way to me. Now I'm paying attention, and now I'm going to see what is on its way of becoming. I'm always in the process of becoming in every single moment, in every single conversation, in this meeting here today. Every word I speak is I'm always engaging and recreating myself. So the fear will definitely block me, and it has very much to do with what I call the emotional signatures or personal lies of not feeling worthy. Why couldn't I ask? Well, at some level, I didn't think I was worth whatever it is I wanted so much, right? And as another thing, lots of clients that I've had, when at some point when they were growing up, they didn't get the very essential things that they needed, simply protection, love, those kinds of things. That's also a very, very big trigger of not being able to ask why. Well, I didn't get it in the first place, then why should I still ask for anything else? And so that's a big energy trap, because you're like, whatever I'm asking for, it's going to be rejected anyway, and then you'll just stay stuck in that place.
Yeah. And those are the old patterns I feel like are very hard to transform when you're in your own world, when you're not bumping up against people who are doing the work, who are working on personal development and self-development and even professional development, where you're going around, you're connecting with other people. You have mentors and coaches who are helping you to not think that way, because those are limiting belief systems, but you might not even know they're limiting belief systems. Connie, when it comes to your talk, The Power of Menopause, the body is always talking to us as well. How does the body's wisdom, let us know when we're not giving it what it needs, not listening to it?
Well, sometimes the messages can be very, very subtle. And that's kind of the first issue when it comes to women, because we ignore those subtle messages. So of course, eventually the body is going to speak really loudly when it needs support. Part of the issue when you talk about asking for what you want, one of the issues is as well too, is a lot of women don't know what questions to ask about the stages of menopause. Like, what should I feel in perimenopause? What should I feel during menopause, postmenopause? So it can be that unknown of how do I even ask to get the care, or what question should I ask to notice what I might be going through? But then there's the other part of it is, if I start to ask and I start to make changes, am I going to lose people around me because I'm moving into a different realm? And I think that that's so common, regardless of whether it's your health, your job, your business, whatever, is if I ask and I end up being in alignment, and I end up getting what I want, and I'm changing, what's going to happen to all the people around me? So that can be a big fear of holding people back. It's like, well, maybe it's just safer to be where I am because this is very comfortable. But then, of course, again, something inside of us is going to speak up. Something inside of us is going to tell us we're out of alignment. We shouldn't be there. We need to move. And that's exactly what was happening to me. You know, my body was just speaking very loudly. You need to leave the corporate world and you need to follow your passion. And so I finally listened.
Yeah. Because it felt better to listen. It felt better to listen. You started feeling better listening. I mean, I had eczema blowing up on my hands, all over my hands and everywhere on my body, and itching and scratching when people would come in my office, and I'd be like, it took me a while to figure it out. Or I tolerated it. I knew, I just was forcing myself to stay. Leah, tell us about the courage to quit, because this is the thing. You need the courage to quit, to stop tolerating and start asking.
Well, mine was, bi-weekly panic attacks. So I am grateful that I no longer live in a space where my nervous system is constantly in fight or flight. So, but yeah, the courage to quit is about permission. And I think so often we wait for external permission to validate us. But the reality is we don't need that permission from anybody else but ourselves. And so deeply connecting with yourself and what it is you are being called to, your soul feels at peace with. The work I do these days, when I'm painting or teaching medicine painting and intentional creativity, it's about empowering your own intuition so you can connect to that and know what it is that your soul's calling, and giving yourself permission to say, I can take care of myself. I can quit these things that no longer serve me. I can release heavy energy that I don't have to hold on to. Like, that's not my stuff to hold on to anymore. And so it's that courage, and it's there, and it's inside of all of us, and you just have to activate it. And so if you need help, I give you permission, do it.
Yeah. And maybe you need a coach or whatever to help you get to that place where you can ask for permission. Brenda Lees, you're saying all the right things. So why isn't money responding is your talk title. So you're asking for the money that you want, but it's not happening. Why not?
You're using all the affirmations. You're posting everywhere, all the confident words that you can imagine. You're talking about abundance in every single thing that you talk about. But somehow your body still feels unsafe. Asking for the money, asking for the job, for the next promotion, asking for the next investor, asking for that next JVB partner, right? Their money reads hesitation. Like our body, as I think it was Leah who was mentioning safety in our body. Our body, our nervous system is the one driving the show, right? And if our nervous system doesn't feel that the words we're saying are in alignment with us, then we need to work on that. However, we can still use some of the words to get us there. It doesn't all have to be hard work. Sometimes just adjusting the words we use. And I'll give an example. I choose to ask for the sale because I'm aligned for clean, yes or no. I choose to receive support because my system is ready for expansion. Those are little different ways in we can command the universe. We can command for our life to evolve, change, and open us for receiving.
Mm-hmm. And I like the word command. It's kind of, it brings you into, I have all these arm movements. If you haven't noticed, I talk with my arms, but you can really put yourself into your driver's seat. And this is kind of what we're saying about alignment. You're inside your body. You're connecting the mind, the heart, the body, and the energy together inside of you. It's an inside job. And that alignment is created from that connection. But if the opposite is misalignment, where we're not present, we're, you know, in the future thoughts, in the past thoughts, what do I need to do now? And we're confused. And then that's when we're like, oh, I'm so confused, I don't even know where to start to ask for help.
And that's where your nervous system, like being aware of your nervous system, is so important, because your nervous system can actually tell you that, yet you're going on the wrong direction, turn around, move to the left, or do whatever it is that you need to do. So being really aware of your body, of your nervous system, of how you react to different things, for me, that's the biggest win that we all could have. And sometimes you when you start to adjust the words that you say, you start to realize, oh, this feels more expansive, this feels more comfortable, I can get on with this, I can move forward with this.
Yes. David, you are about smashing your talk is smashing the plateau to ignite prosperity with clarity, confidence, and community. What's some clarity in relationship to asking for what you want? How does clarity and confidence come together, and community?
Yeah, well, I think, Jennifer, all these comments about alignment and fear are all tied into being clear in your own mind about what's important to you, what it is you want, what are you trying to achieve, and then the how you're trying to achieve it is where you can benefit by asking. I'll give an example. We have a relatively new member of our community who has been very supportive of others at the outset, but also forthright about what they want and need. And an unexpected opportunity suddenly came up earlier this week, and they posted in the community platform kind of sort of what they're facing. And then another member said, oh, would it help if a few of us got on a call with you together as a group to kind of discuss this and kind of talk through what the issues are. And that wouldn't have happened if this new member hadn't posted what the issues were and said that they were looking for some feedback. So who knows, this group call hasn't happened yet. It's happening later today, but we'll see how it plays out. But you need to be in a place where you feel comfortable, be clear in your own mind about what it is you're trying to achieve, and know where and how to ask for support. And you may be very positively surprised by the results.
Yeah. And it might take moving into communities that you've never been in before, like this one, like the Activate Your Prosperous Life community, like David's community, Smashing the Plateau, like many of the communities that we're all creating. Because the old comfort zone community, maybe it's your office, your corporate office community, or it's your family community. They're not on the same wavelength as you. You're not matching up anymore. They aren't thinking like you anymore.
Yeah, there's an ebb and flow to communities, and there's an ebb and flow to your life. So just you sort of feel your way around and follow what you think suits you and what you need now.
Yes. Imani, tell us about your talk. Here, I'm going to say what it is. Activate your divine abundance ecosystem, and how asking for help is connected to your talk.
You know, I work with clients to help them recognize that all of the strategies and things that they're learning on the outside aren't necessarily in alignment. That to really define what strategies are going to work for them in their business as they're building or whatever project they're working on, it's going to require them going on the inside first and really getting in tune with where their ideas are coming from and what is the inspired action that they can take, and an inspiring strategy that they can take to support them in what they're trying to create or build. And so a lot of times, you know, my clients are faced with this problem, like they're following all of the things, like I've got to be on Instagram 7 days a week in order for my business to grow, right? When reality may be for them, given their lifestyle, given what's really truly in alignment with ease and what feels like ease for them, is not being on Instagram 7 days a week, right? So I really help my clients, mostly entrepreneurs, develop those strategies that are in tune. And so how does this relate to asking? Again, trusting what it is you desire to create, and for them, trusting that, if I just do this one post on Instagram, the energy behind this post is going to help me align with my ideal clients. I'm not overselling because of some strategy that I paid for that tells me I need to oversell. So I'm really helping my clients fine tune and really align with the ask that is actually in alignment as well, right? So we don't need to be overselling, like I'm going to get into the DMs and I've set all these things up if it's not in alignment. So I really like helping my clients tune in to what feels like ease and trust intuitively and what's in alignment with what they're trying to create.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there that you should be doing this and 10xing that, and all like you can get the whole feed coming in and get overwhelmed. What feels good to you? What feels good to you? Lauren, tell us about your talk, Sustainable Soul Care for Conscious Leaders. So why do conscious leaders sometimes hesitate to make some bold asks out there? Why do we hesitate?
Yeah, I think it goes up against the wall of so many things that we're saying, like, are we worthy? Do we know what we want? Are we asking for the right thing? Are we in alignment frequency? And if we don't understand what that means, then we continue to create things that we don't want, or that we think that we want, but we're not actually in that body alignment with. The Sustainable Soul Care is this beautiful method and product that we created, but really it's this energetic attunement to that frequency, to that alignment, so that you know what that is, you know what that feels like somatically, and then you're able just to raise your baseline. Like we were talking about, Leah was talking about nervous system work, and it's so important to raise our baseline so that we can receive, so that we can be able to be in alignment with what that is that we're asking. So it's not just being clear about what we want, but then it's also about being in that state of receptivity. And the more nervous system work we do to calm, reset, our baseline starts to raise, and then our capacity to receive even more than what we asked for becomes in alignment for us.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. The baseline is, when you go, you're working on yourself, but you're having the community support you. It helps your baseline raise. It helps your capacity to expand because other people are also there. You feel safe.
Yeah, and you have
There's
to.
a lot of, it's about feeling safe too. Mm-hmm. Kirsten, thriving at the frontier of change. Like, what's the key to asking for what you want when it's kind of unknown sometimes? Like you're on that edge, you don't know.
Yeah. Well, I believe we are at a crossroads, and I've said that in previous lives. Humanity really stands at a crossroads, and there's a group of us, that are called to make a leap in our awareness, not just the incremental, little bit of a personal development here and there. The question is, how do we make an actual leap? And there are some competencies that have been named in this group: being able to be clear, to be quiet, to listen. And my biggest experience of that was when I had a multi-million-dollar business down in California, manufacturing ergonomic office chairs. And it was with my ex-husband, and I was miserable. We were doing well financially, but I was miserable. Talk about, the 2x4 over the head. I was getting migraines every 2 weeks, 3 days straight. The marriage was not good. It was a bad situation. I was trying to solve it from here, right? Should I not? Should I not? And then I had one of my most amazing mentors, and he basically said, let's go in the desert for 3 days. And I'm like, good, I will have 3 days of thinking this through. That's not what happened. What happened is my brain went silent. I was watching the commute of a lizard every day, bats flying over my head, swallows dancing. I mean, it was an amazing experience, the brain went silent. And the first night out of the desert, I had a dream that I was telling my childhood friends from Germany that I was divorcing Carl. And that was it. And that taught me more about the competencies that we as leaders of a new world, of ushering in a new way of living, that's one of the competencies we need to learn to thrive, is get quiet so you actually know what you want. So you actually can tune into what is, I use hand motions as well, as you know, that everything is aligned from life plan all the way down to your body. Everything just like a tuning, whatever the lens,
Tuning fork.
it comes in and you know it. All the fear went away. All the fretting went away with that dream. I woke up and I was here. I went home and I told him, and there was no more indecision. So I would say that's competency number one. And there's several of these kinds of competencies that we get to develop as we make this leap in awareness. And it is no longer incremental. We've got to go from here to here now.
Yeah. And the easiest way to go from here to here is, if you've already registered for the summit, take that next bigger leap and come into the VIP and get deeper into these conversations. Because you might be wondering, oh, I don't really understand alignment. Can I understand this? Do I want to? You might be questioning a lot. We might be raising a lot of questions for you. Well, that's how you come in. Whoops. Sunforce activation's coming up in 10 minutes. No, that's how you come in and you get your questions answered in your language. Tell us, we might not be speaking the exact words that you use, but we can talk to you in the words that you use. So register for the summit. Come be with us. There is some super duper powerful alignments happening here beyond what we can understand and know at this moment, but it's happening. Thank you so much. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow with the next stream.